Hello, everybody. Today's topic is the waste management industry, for which Cosmo Consult has developed and provides an industry solution based on the Microsoft platform Dynamics 365. We want to show you how you can strengthen your competitive advantage by using this specific ERP system and a dedicated industry solution for the industry. We have developed this solution to meet the specific requirements of the waste management industry by giving them all the industry relevant functionality and giving them the opportunity to at the same time use the wide functionality of the standard Dynamics 365 platform. Today's agenda is a quick introduction into who is Cosmo Consult. Then I'd like to introduce you to why it is necessary to have a specific industry solution for the waste management industry. And then I'd like to show you what this industry solution is about and what Cosmo Consult Environmental Services offers. Cosmo Consult is a consulting company founded in 1996. Currently about 1,200 experts located in 14 countries around the globe and has a customer base of more than 4,000 companies. Cosmo Consult is a Microsoft partner, and that is very important because all the software we sell, that we implement, and that we develop is based on Microsoft technology. We fully embrace the Microsoft way of doing business by providing our customers with all the Microsoft stack related functionality. We work very closely together with Microsoft and have been doing so for many years, which is also represented by our current status as a Microsoft Gold partner. The Microsoft way of doing business is to develop the latest possible state-of-the-art software and to resell and implement it and support it through their wide international network of partners. And Cosmo Consult is one of these partners, totally dedicated to the Microsoft product stack. Cosmo Consult is a German company, but nevertheless, it is capable of delivering services worldwide. Cosmo Consult branches are in several countries in Europe and Southern America, but when we deliver our software worldwide, we rely on the vast partner network of the Microsoft ecosystem and uses strategic alliance partners wherever necessary. That enables us to deliver our software solutions worldwide and support it again through our network of partners. Today, we talk about software for the waste management industry. And we consider the waste management industry to be a very specific industry in certain areas. The first and foremost element that we would like to touch upon is the waste collection and waste transfer business. Every company that collects waste, that collects liabilities, that collects them from their customers, from municipalities, from industrial companies, from shops, from malls, from any possible waste distributor is a waste collector. And any company that uses trucks and any other devices uses containers to collect these types of material is a typical waste collecting company for this industry. The second industry we focus on is the recycling industry. And the basic difference between the waste collection and the recycling industry is that the recycling industry deals with valuable products. Waste is a liability, metal, paper, cardboard, glass. This is a recyclable and a valuable material. So while the recycling industry also collects material, they do it with a valuable material. And they also engage in transforming the collected material into a new product that then can be resold. The third industry we focus on is the landfill business. So you know that the collected waste needs to be brought somewhere. There are multiple different ways of doing so, and in many countries it is still a common way to get rid of the collected waste by putting it onto a dedicated landfill. And the management of these landfill also needs to be supported by software. So that's the third industry we are focusing on. The second possibility to get rid of the non-recyclable waste is to incinerate it and create energy from it. So that's the waste to energy business. And we also focus on this specific industry where the collected waste is brought into an incineration plant and is transformed into another valuable product, which is energy. Cosmo Consult has developed a specific industry solution based on Dynamics 365 and has done so for many years. In the year 2015, we have, in the year 2005, sorry, in the year 2005, we have created our first version of environmental services. At that time, based on Axapta 2.5, upgraded it to Axapta 3.0. And since then, we have updated our software with every new Microsoft Dynamics release. So we have created new functionality based on the experience we gained with customer projects and have added this functionality to our software as the Microsoft product evolved. The latest version of the Dynamics platform is Dynamics 365, and our solution is again on this latest version and is available together with Dynamics 365 in the cloud. Microsoft recommends its partners to certify their solutions, and that is what Cosmo Consult always did. So our solution is a totally integrated, does not sit on top of the Dynamics world, but is actually completely integrated into all the functionality of Dynamics, and that is a very important feature for our customers. And we guarantee this integration by the certifications that Microsoft provides. It used to be a certification for AX 2009. Then we upgraded the certification to AX 2012, and now we provide this assurance by being available on the Microsoft Epps, which is the latest certification process of Microsoft. So what we guarantee is that our solution is built and developed according to the Microsoft standards, to the Microsoft development guidelines. It is has the necessary Microsoft certifications, and it is documented and always on the latest on the latest version that Microsoft provides. So the Dynamics 365 platform and Cosmo Consult Environmental Services, they go hand in hand, as is proven by its availability on the Epps as of now. The success of this solution and the quality assurance from the Microsoft team has also brought us the status of a preferred solution, and this is also now the status this solution is currently in. The Epps is the quality tool that we're very proud of. It helps us to give information to our customers. It helps us to communicate with our customers, and it helps our customers to get more information about this product. And it also assures our customers that the solution is ready for deployment along with the Dynamics 365 world. As I said, Dynamics 365 for finance and operations is the current ERP system and the platform for medium and large size groups of companies. This is the target industry that our industry solution focuses on. Dynamics 365 provides a vast range of functionality. It includes several modules, many functionalities that can be used in many different industries. This solution is very mature and deployed in hundreds of industry applications worldwide. So this solution is a very good foundation for any business. But as a matter of fact, the waste industry is a specific industry. It has specific requirements and it needs specific modules. And this is why the standard functionality of Dynamics 365 is not sufficient when covering the process requirements of the waste management industry. That's the reason why Cosmo Consult has started to develop additional functionality based on the Dynamics 365 platform and integrated into this platform. This solution, as we call it, Cosmo Consult Environmental Services, enhances the system with this industry-specific functionality. And I'd like to highlight some of them to give you a better understanding. But first, let me explain why this industry is so specific. In a discrete manufacturing environment, and discrete manufacturing is basically the processes that all ERP solutions are built on. In a discrete manufacturing environment, we see that sales creates demand for the manufacturing process and subsequently to the procurement of material. So we always have a vendor where you purchase material from, send it to your yard, produce something from it, do a manufacturing process and increase the product value, and then sell it, have an outbound transaction to your customer. And in this process, you see that the material flow goes from the vendor to the customer, and the monetary flow goes from the customer to the vendor, meaning that when you have an inbound transaction, well, then you are supposed to pay for that inbound material. When you have an outbound transaction, you are supposed to receive money for that material. And in the waste management environment, it is completely different. In the waste management environment, we speak about reverse logistics, meaning that we do not deal with a valuable material that we have to pay for, but actually a liability, and we expect to get paid for handling this material. So in this industry, we see that inbound orders create demand for processing and create demand for outbound orders. When we collect waste, then we have an inbound material stream. We receive material from a producer. And at the same time, because it's a liability, we expect to get paid for that. So we have an inbound transaction and we expect to post against accounts receivables. And then again, there's a kind of a manufacturing process, a sorting, a processing. And this has the goal to reduce future disposal costs or reduce the volume or any other purpose. And then there's an outbound transaction. So we want to get rid of the material and we send it to someone who can either incinerate it, send it to a landfill, or maybe even a customer that makes new products out of that recycled material. So we do have an outbound material stream, and at the same time, if it's a liability, we expect to have to pay for this process. And that's reverse logistics. So combining an outbound transaction and paying for this specific transfer, or an inbound transaction and actually receiving money for this transaction. That is something that a standard ERP system cannot cope with. And that is also the core of our industry solution and the very reason why we have developed Cosmo Consult Environmental Services in the first place. So we put this functionality of reverse logistics on top of the power of Dynamics 365. And we have enhanced this reverse logistics functionality with several modules that are necessary in this specific industry, that collects waste and collects liabilities. So to give you just a quick example of what we have added, reverse logistics means that when you do receive material and at the same time you pay for that, you do have a business partner rather than a customer or a vendor. In a typical ERP system, we have to have a customer account and a vendor account. In this industry, we never quite know what it is. So it could be a customer, and at the same time, within the same order, it could be a customer. So vendor and customer are both the same in this industry. And therefore, we have put another entity on top of that we call the business partner. And the system will automatically decide whether to post against accounts payable or accounts receivable, whether to use the customer account or the vendor account. But for the user, there's only one entity, and that's the business partner. Or another element is the contract. In this industry, we very rarely see that there is a one-off business activity. Very often we see that there are long-term contractual agreements that are the basis for the actual orders. And therefore, we have created a module that we call contract management. And in this contract management module, you can define all the necessary elements that then at a later point in time make up the order. Or another element would be the Weybridge integration. We see that in this industry, very rarely material is counted. Very often it is sent across a Weybridge. And the Weybridge is a physical device that needs to interface into the ERP system. So we have created a user interface that helps you and helps the Weybridge manager to perform the tasks typical on such a Weybridge and also get the weight scale that has been created in this weighing activity. So this is just a quick introduction to what environmental services brings to the table. Right, to give you a quick overview of how we utilize this ERP system with the industry solution, I'd like to quickly introduce you to 4 customer projects that are very typical for this business. So the first one I'd like to talk about is a company in Sweden. This is an incineration company. SUSE Earth collects and incinerates waste and creates energy from it. SUSE Earth has about 150 users, so it's perfectly within the range of the Dynamics 365 world. They have started off with a Dynamics AX 2012 project and have gone live, used the system for several years, and have now recently updated and upgraded its solution to the latest version, Dynamics 365. The second example I'd like to show you is a company in the United Kingdom. It is a waste collecting company. It's a very large company with about 4,500 users. And this company actually creates a lot of services to the community. So they do the full range of waste related businesses, commercial collection, municipal collection. They have their own recycling plants. They do treatment and remediation. They run their own landfills. Some of them are already closed, but still need management. And they have their own biogas energy production. So a wide range of business areas, all within the range of the waste management industry, and therefore a typical target of the Cosmo Consult environmental services solution. The next one I'd like to show you is a company in New Zealand. This is, again, a waste collecting company, again, very specialized on the collection of waste, commercial waste, as well as municipal waste. They do also run their own skip rental business and are specialized in the transportation and treatment of chemical waste. This is an example of how Cosmo Consult delivers its solution to the most faraway place you can imagine. It's just on the other end of the world, and our project implementation capabilities help us, together with a local partner from the Microsoft business partner environment, to deliver solutions also in these areas. And the last I'd like to show you is a company in Austria. This is Altstoff Recycling Austria. It is a packaging waste licensing system, and we help them to map their processes in the licensing system as well as in the advanced recycling solutions area, a company called Ares. So these companies are dedicated to managing the waste, the packaging waste specifically in Austria, and they are actually also the market leader in Austria when it comes to waste licensing. So these are the areas Cosmo Consult is doing business in, and where we supply and implement our industry solution for this specific industry, and always based on Dynamics 365. Right. So let's get a little bit more into the functionality of the software. You already heard that Dynamics 365 is the platform, and this means that we can use the full range of this ERP system. There is the item master. There is the warehouse management system. There is the finance possibilities. There is analysis possibilities and reporting, Power BI and whatnot. So all the functionalities that Dynamics 365 brings to the table is used by our customers. And we have enhanced this functionality with additional modules. And I'd like to quickly introduce you to these modules. Right. The first one, and as I said, probably the most central one, is the contract management system. It starts all the business transactions. So when you have your first customer contract, you, for example, start off with a CRM project, and at some point in time, you will make things more clear and create a business quotation, a contract quotation. So this is where also the contract starts, because all the contractual information can be set up at this early point in time. So there's a contract management and contract quotation management possibility in Dynamics that allows you to manage your contractual agreements in the sales phase. And at some point in time, you will make the contract fixed, and you will set a start and an end date, and you will define quantities and prices and whatnot and services, and all of that will be then part of your released contract. So this will then be the basis and the starting point for your order management. Of course, all the contracts are related to business partners. As said, the business partner is an entity that sits on top of customers and vendors, and means that we have one entity to contact with. The business partner naturally can have multiple addresses, or in this specific case, also multiple service locations. So we have added a new feature called service locations to the business partner module, and the contracts can be dedicated for these individual service locations. So whenever you have a customer that actually sits on multiple different construction sites, and you have to collect the construction waste from these sites, then you can exactly specify where the container that you have delivered sits, and where you want to do the collection service. So these contracts are agreements on material, on services, and on containers. They include prices, they include quantities, planned quantities, release quantities. So all the information is available for creating orders, and is also available for doing analysis, forecasting, etc. We can also set service schedules onto these agreements. This means that the order can be created automatically following such a service schedule, and be automatically routed to the necessary transporting vehicles. So the contract is the basis for order creation, and this can be done either manually or automatically following a service schedule. Right. I said that the contract is the starting point. It is the starting point for creating orders, and that is exactly what the next step is. If you create a release order, either manually or automatically, then the system creates a new entity that we call the work order. And if you remember the reverse logistics description, then you see that in this work order we have to manage these inbound transactions where you have to pay for, and the outbound transactions where you actually the inbound transaction where you receive money, and the outbound transaction where you have to pay for. So that's what the work order actually can do, because it links together multiple different entities. Standard sales orders, standard purchase orders, standard material inputs, and standard material outputs. So that's what the system is capable of when you create a new work order. So the inbound and outbound material streams, as well as the posting against accounts payable and accounts receivable, can be linked flexibly into each other. And you will see that when we go to the live demo in a minute. So that's the key element of the work order. That's what is derived from the contract, and is now used to actually do the transactions that you have agreed on with your customer. Right. We have seen that in this industry, orders are being created to transfer waste, and it is affected in this industry. Most of the waste is transported with containers. So we do also have a container management module. And this module helps you to not only manage the setup of your containers, but it also helps you to manage the transactions of your containers. So it's very important for most of our customers that run thousands and thousands of containers and have them located all over the map to know exactly where they should be. So this container management module helps you to set up a container. It helps you to monitor where the container actually sits, on which address, on which location. It helps you to perform certain services connected to the container, like an emptying transaction or a washing or a repair transaction or whatnot. And then finally, we can also exchange containers or collect them at the end of our contractual period. So this container management system helps you to manage your containers of different. Small wheelie bin could be a large and valuable combustion container. So all the different mobile assets can be managed with this solution. We do also use the mobile apps that Microsoft provides for this system. So there's a container app that we can use, and it helps us to identify a container with our mobile phone. Take a look at what is supposed to be in this container, and create transactions from this mobile app. This is a very useful device, and is just a reminder of how helpful mobile devices in this industry can be. Many of our customers actually use multiple different mobile apps, and the container app is one of these examples. Right. So after we have created the order, the next step is that the transportation has to be managed. And it's quite typical that our customers either handle this with their own fleet, or that they subcontract it to a secondary transportation company. However you do it, we can support this process by setting up a new entity derived from the work order that we call the load. And these loads can then be attached to trucks, can be attached to routes, and then can be sent to an onboard unit, the actual truck, and can be used to report whether the actual transportation has started, whether there have been some activities that need to be recorded. Pictures can be taken and be sent back to the route. So a lot of these elements can be stored until the final confirmation that the route has been finished. The managing and the creation of these routes is supported by a route planning board. This is a tool that helps the route planners in their day-to-day business. It shows them all the newly created loads that have to be delivered, that have to be shipped, and helps them to find the correct truck and attach the load or the multiple loads to such a truck, and send the truck en route. So this is what we have developed to support the route planning possibilities. Usually, or very often, we see that mobile units are in the cabs. So if a truck runs with an in-cab device, then we will interface into this specific device and share information and receive data from such a third-party product. That's a very typical scenario in this industry, and we have sufficient experience in interfacing to any of the market solutions that are out there. A second point where we very often interface is the automated planning. So this route planning board is a manual tool, and some of our customers, they have a process that allows manual planning, and they actually enjoy having this simple tool that helps them to easily plan their routes. Others have more sophisticated requirements when it comes to route planning and optimization of routes, and they use a third-party route optimization tool. And again, we can interface into these tools and share information with them. So we send the loads to such a route planning tool and receive back the planned and scheduled routes, so that we can then manage them. So here again, the integration is proven and can be done with any solution that is on the market. Right. The last module that I'd like to talk about is the yard and Weybridge management. So when the truck is en route, visits the customers or the business partner's site, empties the container, and returns back to your yard to deliver what he has collected, the usual process is that this truck goes across a weighbridge, and this physical weighbridge will weigh the truck and deliver the quantities back to the ERP system. So we have created a user interface that helps you to real-time control these weighbridges. So we will set up an interface that allows you to receive the weight from the weighbridge, that allows the Weybridge manager to identify the truck that is currently standing on the weighbridge and to link the weight and the order that is connected to this truck. So that's what this Weybridge module is about, but it's not only that. It is capable of managing a couple of additional processes that are very typical on such a weighbridge, like for example, if there is a first and a second weighing, meaning that the truck with the full container is weighed when he is inbound to the yard, and after he has tipped, the truck leaves the yard and is weighed again. And in the second weighing, the quantity without the waste is now weighed, and the difference is then posted to the inventory. So that's first and second weighing, maybe third or fourth weighing. So there are multiple different ways of doing that, can also be managed with this weighbridge module. And then there's also the possibility that additional action needs to be taken on such a weighbridge, like for example, a material inspection and managing the results and mapping them to the order. Like for example, adding specific services, like for example, if the container is damaged, you want to add a container damage fee, or if there's additional waste in the container that you did not expect, like for example, if you expect green waste and there sits a refrigerator on top of the container, then you want to charge for the refrigerator in a separate line, and you can do that by using a specific functionality on the weighbridge. Or if you expect material of the grade A and in reality it's grade B, and you want to reclassify exactly after the tipping on the yard, then you can also do that. And of course, there's also a possibility to reject a delivery at all. So if there's, for example, radioactivity detected in the container, then you can totally reject the delivery. So all these typical activities on the weighbridge can be managed on this weighbridge module. That's what this solution does and brings to the table, all integrated to the Dynamics 365 standard solution. Right. So I said that we use a user interface like the Dynamics 365 screen, but we also use all the possibilities that Dynamics 365 brings to the table when it comes to mobility. So we have multiple apps and can create additional apps for multiple mobile scenarios. Like for example, as I said, the container app that helps you to identify a container anywhere with your mobile phone. We can access the source code of our solution and bring the functionality to any mobile device. And because this is a Microsoft standard functionality, this Power Platform, as it's called, it is also very flexible and is designed for you as a customer and as a user of the system to develop and build your own mobile devices, mobile services on these devices with the functionality that is called Power Apps. Right. So let's move on to the live demo, and let me give you a quick overview of how the system looks like. I have started the browser-based system before we started this demo. So now we probably have to update all our screens, which can be easily done. Let's kick off by a quick introduction to the modules. So what you see here is the user interface of Dynamics 365. You see all the workspaces that are dedicated to specific roles. You see the full range of modules that are in the system. And of course, we will use those that are dedicated to the waste industry in this demo. So let me start off by quickly creating an order, like in a scenario where a customer calls in. I am now sitting in the call center and I'm receiving the information. Well, there a specific customer calls me and wants to have a container emptied. So I click on identification, and there I have a couple of possibilities. I can search for this customer. I can use the party ID. I can use the name, the email address, or the phone. Some of our customers also link their functionality to a phone registration system, and I've identified my business partner, and that is Fresh and Fruity Garden Services. And Fresh and Fruity Garden Services is a company that provides services of different kinds. They provide services that include the creation of some kind of material. Could be green waste, could be a cleaning service that provides some nasty stuff that is on the curbside of a street. So all possible waste is collected by Fresh and Fruity Garden Services, and we have to empty the container where they put it into. So we have a a service location with them. Like you see here, for example, this is a service location number 31, which is connected to our contract. This is located in Austria, in the city of Steyr. And we see that this specific container on this address, this is to be collected. So on this service location, we have a container, and this needs to be collected, emptied. So I go now to the active contract, and I see that there's a contract connected to this business partner, and I click on release order because I want to release an order from this created contract. So I click on release order, and this opens an interface for me that shows me what kind of lines I have in my contract. And what you see is that we have a product line. This is the material input because we want to actually receive material. And we have a service line that is directly connected to this material input, and that is a fee. So on these two lines, they are very important. They go hand in hand. So the material waste input and the disposal fee, they go hand in hand. This is what we call reverse logistics, because we do have a material input, an inbound transaction, and at the same time, we are able to charge a fee for that. So that's what this reverse logistic is about. And if I create this work order, then I can select mark all, which is now creating an order for the material input. It is creating a sales order for the waste disposal fee, and it is also creating another fee for the emptying transaction, because we want to charge for the emptying as well. So not only for the material that we will receive, but we also want to charge for the emptying process. Right, what we don't want to do is we don't want to collect the container. So I deselect the last line. We also see that there's a price connected to that. So we see 10 cents per kilogram will be the price for the waste disposal. And now I click on create, and this will automatically create an order. And we see that the system has created a new order, work order 19150. So that's what we now see. Right. This is what the inbound sales has done. We have received a call. Customer told us, please empty my container. He has referred us to the correct contract, and I've done that. So what we see now is we see that, okay, let's fill. This is a list of all the work orders, and I'm now filtering down to those with fresh and fruity services. And I see this latest order here, this number 150. This is the one I have now created. And if I go to the work order, then we see that this work order includes exactly the services. We have the material input, we have the sales order for the disposal fee, and we have the sales order for the emptying transaction. That's what we wanted, and that's what we have now received. What we also see is that there's a planned quantity of 1,000 kilogram. So now that's just the planned quantity, you know, that's not the real quantity. That's just for planning purposes. It's the release quantity, and the system has generated the order with this quantity just to make sure that we can post against something, but the real quantity will be available after the truck has crossed the Weybridge. Right. So this is our work order, and now the work order needs to be scheduled. So we can take a look at the dispatching module and take a look at what the system has also created, and that's called a load. So let's take a quick look at the load and see what the system has done here. So here we see, based on the contract and as part of the work order, in this case, work order 150, we have created a load that includes the transaction between these two addresses. So here's the pickup location, Fresh and Fruity Garden Services, on this specific location, and we need to send it to our yard, Cosmo Consult Recycling Europe, on the destination 10 in this specific address. So this is where we want to send the material to. Of course, you can send it to any receiver. Could be your own yard. It can be a third-party yard. So there's also the possibility to connect contracts with an incoming transaction and an outgoing transaction. So there are multiple different ways of doing that. But in this case, it's just a transfer from Fresh and Fruity Garden Services and where the container actually sits, and to our address. Right. So now let's go to the next step and take a quick look at how this load can be transferred into an actual transaction, into an actual transportation activity, which we call a route. And therefore, we go into the route planning board. And this route planning board shows you a picture where on the top head of the screen, you find all the active loads. And of course, there are quite a lot of them. So I limit the query down and show only those that are scheduled for today. So now we see that there are 3 loads scheduled. There's an outgoing transaction to Flint Printing Company. There's an incoming transaction from the same company. And there is, strangely enough, there's a load, but not our load. Let me do that again. So we need to see the number 150, work order. Here we go. All right. For some reason, our order is not here. Yes, here it is. Here we go. So we have found our load, and this is the order number. So it's work order 150. We can see it here. And our task is now to dedicate a specific truck and a specific route to this load. And we do that by creating a route. And there's a button that lets us create a route. So I click this button, and this opens a small wizard that talks us through the activities of creating such a route. So the first thing is that we will select a vehicle. And I click on add a new vehicle, and there I can select from a list of vehicles that are at my disposal. So there's, for example, external transporting companies, PD truckers. I could attach the load to them. I could also use this one here. And let's take this in. This is truck number 1. This is capable of performing the specific task. I can also add employees. And again, I can go to my list of employees that are capable of driving this vehicle. So I select Toby as the driver. And for this specific task, we also need a loader. So I select Noah as the loader. So he is now the one who will join this team. And these are the ones that are dedicated to drive the specific route. Here you can see that we have attached only one load to the route. It could be actually also several loads. So we could kind of visit several service locations in one route. I click on create, and this shows me now this picture. So we see for the specific truck number 1, we have created a route that includes this specific load to Fresh and Fruity. It starts at 7 o'clock in the morning and is supposed to end at 13:30. That's what this tells us. Right. We also see some additional information in the general tab pages. So we see that this is the vehicle that we have selected. To highlight this first. So here we see the vehicle that we have selected. Here we see the employees that we have attached to this specific transaction. And here we see the planned route stops from the load. So we see that we will load material at Fresh and Fruity Garden Services in Steyr, and we will unload at site number 10 of our company in Heidenquerstraße in Vienna. Right, so that's what we have done. This was the manual route planning, and you see it's a very simple process. The next step is that we actually activate the route. So the activation of the route is the point in time when we deliver the information to the onboard unit. So there's a truck waiting on the yard and they have no orders. So now we activate the route. We can print the order documents and we can also send this route information to the onboard unit so that the truck now has the updated GPS data. He sees on his internal device where to go to and what to do. Right, and this route is now active, and we see that because also the color has changed. It's now golden, and that means the truck is en route. So this is what happens now. The truck leaves the yard and visits the business partner site. He tries to find the container and empties the container, as is the service of this specific transaction. Let's take a look at the route itself. So I'm now on the route screen. Here's a list of all the routes, and here we see our route. This here is the one that I've just activated, and we see from 7 to 13:30. These two route stops are planned, and what I can do now is I can now either attach additional information, like for example information that the gate is closed, so we couldn't get in and we cannot perform the service. So the driver kind of makes a note in his onboard device, the gate was closed, or he wants to take a picture of the container because it was in a dirty status, and we want to charge for that as well. So a lot of additional informations might be necessary at that point in time, and they can all be put onto this specific route. So this is the entity where this information is stored. But at some point in time, the route will be completed, and this means that we have delivered the material either we have delivered it from the customer side, from the business partner's container that we have emptied, and we're now about to approach our yard. And now we can complete the route and finish it. So we can do that by giving additional information, and again, there are the activities with the planned start time and the planned the actual time when we received when we emptied the container. So the actuals can be specified in here, but at some point in time we will complete the route and make it finished. So now I've completed the route, and this posts and updates the status of the route. So if I go back, sorry, to the route list, then we see that this route is now closed. Right, so the route is closed, and we are now ready for the Weybridge transaction, because now as the route is closed, the truck is on the Weybridge and is about to unload. So I move to the next screen and the next module, and that is the operate the Weybridge user interface. And what you see here is the screen that the Weybridge manager sees. He sees, first of all, for his specific Weybridge, so there are naturally multiple different Weybridges in the system, but it's dedicated to showing the information of only one Weybridge. So he is sitting here and seeing that there are multiple planned shipments, and the latest shipment is, as we expected, the work order 150. So that's the one we have just identified on the Weybridge, maybe with a number plate registration tool, or by the delivery note that the driver hands over to the Weybridge manager, and anyway or the other, the truck is identified, and we can now start the weighing process. So I go to weigh, which means the Weybridge manager hits the button weigh, and this opens the weighing screen, and this is the interface where the actual information is being interfaced into. So the actual Weybridge weighs and sends the weight. We don't have a active hardware in this demo environment, so we have to simulate the weighing process, and we do that by clicking on edit weights, and we do a first and a second weighing transaction. So what I do here is I post first weighing, and we assume that the total weight of truck, container, and waste is 11,000 kilograms, so 11 tons. And that's the result of the first weighing. And then I click manual weighing, and this will now update the weighing transaction. So you see that the line has disappeared from all planned shipments. And because the transaction is partly weighed, we find it in all active weighings. That's where this delivery now sits. We see that the first weighing has been done, and the truck left the Weybridge, and he's now on the yard. We see that the truck is on the yard because it's in all active shipments, and we see that there's a second truck on the yard. So this one here with a delivery from Flint Printing Company is also somewhere on the yard. That's what we see here. And the status of the transaction is partly weighed. Right, so now the truck actually tips and leaves the yard again across the Weybridge. So we identify this truck again, click the weighing button, and do the second weighing. So again, I click on edit weights, I enter the second weighing, The second weight, in this case, it's 10 tons. So this is the truck with the container, but without the material that has been delivered. So the actual net weighing that will update the order is 1,000 kilogram. And now I click complete and post, and this will finish the weighing transaction. I click this and the system will update the status of the order as well as print a weighing slip. And this weighing slip is a document that tells us, well, for this specific work order, this specific material, in this case general waste, has been delivered, and it's the quantity 1,000 kilogram, and that is derived from the fact that we did a first weighing of 11,000 and the second weighing of 10,000. So this document is now printed. Right, and I said that this updates the work order. Let's take a look at the work order and check how the update looks like. So I open the work order screen again and take a look at the status of our work order lines. So here's number 150, and I go to the work order, and here I find that in our work order, this is not the one. This is the one. And here we find our lines, general waste and the general waste disposal fee. And you see the status of these two lines. So they are posted and they are shipped. So meaning posted means that the waste has been received and the connected waste disposal fee has been shipped. The container emptying transaction has not been updated yet. This is something that is disconnected from the Weybridge module. We have set it to update it only automatically. So I will post a weighing slip manually, and this will give us the update of the total work order. So now you see that the header is also shipped. All the lines are shipped and we are ready for invoicing. The transaction has been finished, and the standard invoicing run can find the order, and this is shown in the customer invoicing screen, where you find that the work order number 150 is now part of the invoicing run of the next standard invoicing run. And here it is. So this is the order with the updated services ready for invoicing, and that pretty much concludes our process. We have created a new work order from a contract. We have scheduled a truck with the load derived from this work order. We have posted additional information to the activities en route. And we have finished the route as well as received the material on the Weybridge. And all of these transactions have updated our orders. And as I said, this is an integrated system. So all the transactions that you have seen in this waste environment, they have created standard sales orders that now can be invoiced. They have created standard inventory transfers that have updated our inventory. So this is the connection to the standard ERP system. And if I go back to the demo slides, then let me quickly wrap it up. What you've seen is an integrated industry-specific solution that brings the best of the two worlds. So you have the full functionality of Dynamics 365, the standard system, the standard ERP system, and you have all the functionality that are specifically needed by this industry, like the business partner management, like the contract management, like the order management, or container transport planning, and the Weybridge integration. That's what Cosmo Consult Environmental Services is about, and that is what we deliver to our customers of the waste management industry. So we have the proven platform Dynamics 365. That's what Microsoft calls the strongest the strongest ERP system on the market. You have the Microsoft recommended ISV solution. It's a preferred solution dedicated for a specific industry, and you have the experience of Cosmo Consult, long-term business experience. Since more than 15 years, we are active in this market and are ready to deploy our solution worldwide. Right, that is the end of today's webinar. I hope that you have seen what you wanted to see, and we will be happy to receive your call or your email for further investigation on that subject. Thank you very much.